Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Ad America TV. My name is Maya. I'm one of the e-guides at Ad America, and we welcome our audience members joining us online. We truly hope that you are doing well and staying safe amidst this outbreak. Well, anyway, for those of you who are first-timers here, hi, welcome to Ad America TV for the first time. Ad America is the U.S. Embassy's American Center. Our mission is to provide a space for young generations of Indonesia to learn more about the United States. We have temporarily moved to a solely digital platform so you can enjoy our program from the comfort of your own home and help flatten the curve of COVID-19. Don't forget to leave your questions in the comment box below, and our panelists will answer them later in the seminar. And for our friends here who are joining us through Zoom, I'm just letting you know that there are a couple of features that you can use to actively participate in the seminar. You can use the raise hand section to ask your questions with your video on, or you can also use the chat box section to, simply just to say hi to the other participant and also the panelist as well. Don't forget to use these features wisely. All right? Cool. Now, today we are going to have the second session of Introduction to ACT Part 2 out of 3. But you know the drill. Before we begin, we are going to have a social media quiz. Are you guys ready? Okay. The question is it true or false that Cornell University is suspending the ACT or SAT testing requirements for 2021 applicants? I repeat the question one more time. Listen carefully. Is it true or false that Cornell University is suspending the ACT or SAT testing requirements for 2021 applicants? You can participate this quiz through our social media comment section, and stay tuned until the end of this program to find out who got the right answer. And one more thing before we begin, please don't hesitate to capture this moment and share this experience through your social media, and feel free to tag us at AT America. Now, without further ado, joining us, our moderator for today, Kak Santika Salim. Hi, Kak Santika.
Hi, Maya. Thank you so much. Good morning.
Good morning, Kak Santika. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, and the weather looks really good. I hope you will have a good weekend too, Maya.
Thank you, Kak Santika. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, then. The floor is yours.
All right, thanks. So, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on our second session out of 3 sessions on the introduction to ACT. And I really am excited today because we are going to learn a lot about the test itself. And we have a very special guest for each of this introduction to ACT session. And, before I dive deep into what the event about is today, I have a bit of introduction on Education USA, and I will, request the team to prepare the PPT for me. Before that, I want to let you know that my name is Santika, and I am one of the Education USA advisors in America Center. So we usually are open every day on the site. We are located at America is located in Pacific Place Mall, Jakarta. But now, because of the current situation, we are doing everything online. So this is one of the events that we do online, and all of our events that we usually do on site also became online sessions like this, which is quite great, right? Because I can, have participants or audience watching from outside of Indonesia, even because this is like live stream to 5 other platforms. So hello to those of you who are watching from not only in Zoom, but also watching us from Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Periscope, and some other, and YouTube. And, we are really happy that you can watch us on the comfort of your own place. And, you can relax and pick up any snacks or tea that you want to enjoy while watching us live. So what is Education USA? So we are the U.S. Department of State. We network over 400 international students, and we are located in more than 170 countries. So we are basically global, and we are located anywhere. We are almost in every country in this world. So you can find Education USA in almost everywhere, and it's quite convenient for you to ask questions if you are planning to study in the United States. So the network itself promotes the U.S. higher education to students around the world. We give you accurate, comprehensive, and current information and opportunities if you are planning your study to the United States. Okay, next slide. So in Indonesia alone, we have 8 centers and a total of 10 advisors. Like I mentioned, we are located in at America, Jakarta, and another center in Jakarta is in the U.S. Embassy. But the access is a bit, how do I call this? It's kind of like you have to make appointment before you come in. While in at America, you can just come in because we are open for public when we are open. Um, so yeah, we are located in Pacific Place, and Fina and I are, stationed in Ad America. We also have 2 advisors in U.S. Embassy, David and Iqbal, and then we moved to Surabaya. We also have 2 center in the U.S. Consulate General, and then Universitas Erlangga Unair. In Medan, we are in U.S. Consulate, and in Malang, we are in Universitas Muhammadiyah, and Makassar and Banda Aceh, respectively in Universitas Fajar and Universitas Islam Negeri Unaraniri. So if you know anyone who is not in Jakarta, who is close to this center, and they are looking for free guidance to study in the United States, please feel free to refer us to them, because we all will be doing our best to guide them to achieve their dream to study in the US. Okay, next slide. So these are the step by step on how we guide each student who came to us who wants to go to US. Step 1 is actually researching your options, like what kind of program or level of study that you want to do. And then the step 2 will be financing your studies, whether you are looking for scholarship or you are applying for one, or if you are applying for master or PhD and you have other sponsor, which is great. So that will do as well. And the step 3 is completing your application. This is the most highly demanded service that Education USA advisors are being asked for. So in this step 3, completing your application means the university application. So applying to US universities will require a lot more documents, and that means like the essay, the CV or resume, letter of recommendation, your TOEFL or IELTS test, and ACT or GMAT or GRE or SAT test. So if you have any questions regarding to that, and if you need a stranger or someone to give you input on your essay or CV or resume, you can come to us, Education as Advisor, to give it to you for free. And we will discuss, we will brainstorm, and there's no limit on how many times you feel like asking for a review. So as long as you make improvement, we will be very happy to guide you through it. And the step 4 is applying for your student visa. So you will be the one who apply for the visa itself, but we have the kind of step by step for you if you are confused or anything like that. And if you kind of need to reach out to the visa council for the student visa, we also can share you the contacts. So feel free to ask us, especially during this time. A lot of uncertainty revolving the student visa, but you can totally try to reach out to us. And if you have any questions and if we have an update, we will definitely let you know. And step 5, finally, it's preparing for the departure. So this is usually the once a year event that we host in Ad America. But since this year is quite special, so we are trying to make it online. But I think it will be a bit different from what we usually have. So stay tuned to that. And we usually invite everyone who is going this fall 2020. So each year for the fall incoming students, we invite all of the accepted students, but our events is always open for public. So even if you are still in the step of applying or looking around the US university you are interested in, feel free to drop by for the pre-departure orientation or the PDO. I think it will be great for you to make a connection or ask questions to the students who are already accepted as well. All right, that's the step by step, and I want to emphasize that everything that we do for students is free, so you don't have to be, worried about, oh my God, this is going to be expensive and everything, and service fee and everything. We don't have any service fee. Everything's free. It's kind of too good to be true, but it's quite true. So just reach us to us. I will have the context in the next slide. All right. So this is our contact. So we are doing one-on-one advising on a daily basis, even if we are in at America. But now that we are online, we are doing it online via Zoom. So you can email Fina, which is that's her email, fatas at educationusa.org, and my email is there as salim at educationusa.org. Our advising hours is from 1 until 9 p.m. Except when we are, having this kind of session. Usually our events is on the evening, 7 until 8:30 p.m. if you are familiar with that. And I don't want to, pester you to go to Zoom to meet either of us. If you're shy, you can email us first. But if you're planning to go to Zoom, you can, take note on the ID 276-124-396. All right, next slide. And the next slide, I think I have the email, right? So if you are, not certain, or you're still think that your question can be answered through email, then feel free to email us first, jakarta.adamerica@educationusa. Forgot to mention that we are guiding everyone who is planning their study for S1, S2, or S3. So as long as it's formal and degree granting program, then we'll do our best to guide you on that. All right, next slide. Okay, so this is the upcoming events, and this is targeted for undergraduate students. So I'm really happy to share it with all of you, because ACT is one of the requirements for your undergraduate application. This one will be AMA with U.S. University undergraduate admission. It's quite special. We invited four university representatives from 4 different universities. As you can see, there will be Stony Brook University, Missouri Western State University, Minnesota State University, and Mankato, and then the Pepperdine University. It will be on June 26th, on Friday, 7 until 8:30 p.m. So head on to our website to register. You know the drill, www.atamerica.org.id. All right, next. So this one will be the ACT part 3 out of 3 next Saturday, 10:30 until 12 p.m. So the same time today, but it's the last one. And our speaker, Christine, will be presenting you with another set of useful information. So don't miss it out, okay? All right. I think this is kind of the end of my slide, but I think I have the introduction to the speaker today. So without further ado, I will call today's speaker, Mbak Sela Tantoso, our Indonesia representative for the manager for ACT. Hi, Mbak Sela.
Hello, Miss Santika. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. Thank you so much for having us. Are you ready for the presentation? I know you prepare so much for the presentation. Thank you so much.
Yes, I'm ready.
All right, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Hello, good afternoon, good morning, everybody. I was about to say good afternoon. My name is Sela Tantoso. I'm the Business Development Manager for Indonesia for ACT. So I've been working with ACT for about 11 years now. And we already have an office in Jakarta, which is located in West Jakarta. So if you would like to know more about the ACT in details, or maybe if we didn't give you enough information about the ACT test itself, feel free to call us or maybe email me. My email address will be mentioned later on at the end of the slide. So before we start, we already have a past some webinar last week. So we have discussed about the ACT test, and then we have discussed a little bit about ACT task, but this time I'm going to discuss further about the ACT task content. So it's more like the ACT task. What do you want to what do you want to prepare in terms of the task, and then what kind of subjects that you have to study further. So ACT itself is basically our vision is to helping people achieve education and workplace success. So this is also part of our presentation. This is part of our role as well, my role as well, to help you achieve education and workplace success with the ACT test. So ACT test itself, it has always been about what student learns in high school. So basically, when you take the test, you don't really have to learn out of the subject that you have learned in high school. So basically, it measures a student's academic readiness for college, and then it is also accepted by colleges and universities around the globe. So it's not just in America only, it's accepted in all around the world, including all 4 years universities in the United States. To give you a little bit background of the ACT test, so the ACT test itself consists of the English, 75 questions of English, and then continue with math, 60 questions, and then ACT reading for 40 questions, and then continue by science for 40 questions, and ACT writing, which is optional. So you only have to write one essay. And then the total of the test itself is about 3 hours and 35 minutes. So just for you to know, the ACT test in the States is actually, in 2019, is actually taken by mostly 52% of high school graduates. So, but 100% students took the ACT test in 17 states. So if you compare the ACT in US itself, majority of the students will take the ACT test. Here is the ACT testing that's international for 2020 to 2021. So we're going to have the upcoming test in July. It will start at the morning and also in the afternoon. Every session we have 2 testing windows, which are in Friday, Saturday, and also in morning and afternoon. So if you can miss Friday session, or probably you want to do the Saturday session, feel free to do that. And then also we have the session at 8 o'clock usually in the morning, and then also around 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So here are the testing dates. So we have 6 testing dates in a year. So the last one of this year will be on July 9th, 2020, and then the new fiscal year, financial year in ACT, which will start on September. So it will start from September, October, December, and then 2021. So it starts in, I think this is mixed up. 2021 will start on February, and then continue with April, and then June and July. So you have 6 testing windows in a year, which the total of 24 tests in a year. So you have more opportunities in 1 year to take tests. For example, if you want to take the test on July, the result will come out within 2 weeks. For writing tests, and mostly the tests will come out within 3 weeks. So after you look at your testing score, you probably want to decide whether this is enough or you want to test the retest. So if you want to do it, you can take the next test. Also the same thing around. So you have many tests, you have many chances to review the test. Okay, so that's the brief about the ACT test. So this is now I'm talking about test taking strategies. So in terms of the ACT test, what you have to understand for the general preparation is you really have to pace yourself. Make sure you are ready. Make sure you have some practice on the ACT test. And then the second one, you make sure during the test, you read the direction for each section carefully. For example, the reading, English, and science test actually ask for the best answer. But for the math test, it asks for the correct answers. So what are the difference? So basically, English, reading, and science asking for the best answers means that there are 4 answers that are actually correct, but there's only one best answer that you have to answer. But for math, it's actually 4 answers with one correct answer. So you better be careful and try to understand questions carefully before you answer it. So the next step is actually to read each question carefully. You have to read the questions in several steps, and then also sometimes you just have to answer it quickly, because the strategy for the SAT test is also time concern. So you make sure you answer the easy question first. Don't waste your time reading the difficult questions, and then after that you're gonna miss the other questions, and then at the end you won't be able to answer all of the questions correctly. And then the next one is to use logic on more difficult questions. For you to let you know that for logic questions, for math and science, you can bring your calculator to the test venue, but sometimes your calculator won't be much useful. What you're gonna need is actually to use logic more than the calculator itself. And then the next one is actually make sure that you answer questions, because if you don't answer it, there's might be a 50-50 chance that you actually answer it correctly, even though you don't know the answer. But if you don't answer it, means that you get 0 point. And then the last one is to review your, to make sure you check all of your work before you submit everything. Just to let you know that we are doing this test. The ACT test is actually computer-based testing now. So there's no paper-based test or anything. So make sure that you're looking at the screen, make sure all of the questions are answered correctly, and then make sure also that you have done your work accurately. So this is the ACT test for English. Are about 75 questions for 45 minutes. So you make sure that you manage your time in 45 minutes to answer 75 items. There are 5 essays or passages, each with a set of multiple choice questions, and the test measures your understanding on the convention of standard English. So there is about 38 to 40 questions. It also includes punctuation, grammar and usage, and also structure. The second one is production of writing, 24 to 26 questions. It includes topics, development, organization, unity, and cohesion. The third one is knowledge of language. It's between 8 to 15 questions. It has word choice, style, and tone. So this is the basic of the English test that you must know. This is the sample for passage 1. The farmer, my new boss, handed me a bucket pointing down a long row. So if you look at the highlight one, it says pointing. And the answer on the right is A, no change, B, and pointed, C, by pointing, D, pointing me. So you have to choose which are these 4 answers are the correct one or the best. So I'll give you a sample for the first one. This is the answer of number 1. So something like this. So you make sure you check the underlined sentences and then you make sure that you have read the full sentence to be able to answer it. So this is the second passage. This is about social science adopted from the article. So this has no underline at all. So the question is actually mentioned. The passage indicates that House intentionally added all of the following to the grounds outside the National Museum of the American Indian, except. So if you read the first paragraph, it has a question. It has the answer on this. So the answer is ladybugs. So what you have to do is actually click on the answer, and then when you think you are not sure about this, you can go back later on. If you look at the bottom of the presentation, sorry, the bottom of the presentation, it has some button on the bottom. So these are the numbers of the questions that you have to do. And if you want to go to the next questions, you just go to next, and it will go to the next questions. I'm going to do a presentation, a demo video for the ACT CBT test, so that you get the view or understanding about this computer-based testing itself. Okay, so this is the tips for taking the English test. So make sure you pace yourself. You have about 1 minute 30 seconds on each passage, and then about 30 seconds to answer each question. So you make sure that you meet the time accurately, and then also be aware of the writing style in each passage. Each passage are quite different in terms of answering the questions. So you make sure you understand the context itself. And then also examine the underlined portions of the passage. Consider the elements of writing itself. The next one, be aware of questions with no underlined portions in light of a given rhetorical situation, because this is very crucial. And then also note the differences in the answer choices. There are many questions will involve more than one aspect of the right. And make sure you determine the best answer. Reread the sentence using your selected answer. So this is the tips for taking the test. The math test consists of 60 questions on 60 minutes test. So it's easier for you because it's 1 minute per question for you to answer. There are multiple choice questions. There are required the use of reasoning skills to solve practical problems. So you can use calculator here. There are some requirement of each type of calculator that you can use on the test, but I can assure you, you're probably going to use this one, maybe 50% or less than 50% in the test. So these are the components for the math test. Preparing for higher maths. So there are about 34 to 36 questions, consists of number and quantity, 4 to 6 questions, algebra, 7 to 9 questions, functions, 7 to 9 questions, geometry, questions, statistics and probability, 5 to 7 questions, and then also integrating essential skills between 24 to 26 questions. So this covers rates and percentage, proportional relationships, area, surface area and volume, average and median. And then the next one is modeling. So all questions that involve producing, interpreting, understanding, evaluating, and improving models. So I'm sure that you have learned this one on your high school study. So this is the example for the ACT test math. You can see this one, you don't need any calculator to answer this. Let A and B be the positive prime numbers. Which of the following numbers must be a factor of both A and B? So you probably know the answer already. I'm going to give you the answer then, but you can check it. You can check it on the test prep letter on the website. So this is the sample for the second math test. So they're going to give you some kind of a table of chart or anything, something like this, to be able for 2 to 5 questions. Okay. This is another sample for the ACT math. So you can see there's not much of the use of the calculator, but you still can use the calculator to count 20 minutes. For AC shown below, B is on AC. The length of AB is 12 centimeter. The length of BC is 20 centimeter. What is the distance in centimeters between C and the midpoint of AB? Okay, so we go to the next one. So this is the tips for taking the math test. So you make sure you pace yourself. Average of 1 minute per questions you have to answer. So if you use a calculator, you make sure you use it wisely. Some of the problems might be best done without using a calculator. Solve the problem and as many as you can. Do not linger over problems that take too much time. We provide you scratch paper and try working backwards. Locate your solution among the answer choices and then make sure you complete all steps. Some answer choices on incomplete. Make sure your answer is reasonable. There is no unreasonable thing about math. So it has everything is about logic. And then also make sure you check your work after you finish the task. And every sections on each task, you cannot go back once you click next and then once you click finish on the section. So you make sure you check all of the questions and answer accurately, and then after that you go to the next section. Because once you click go to the next section, you won't be able to go back to the previous one. So we go to the ACT task, reading task. There are about 40 questions for 35 minutes. So it is much, it's about less than 1 minute for each item. It has 4 sections. So 3 contains 1 long prose page and 1 contains 2 shorter prose passages. So the passages are representative of level and of texts encountered in the first year college curriculum. The test questions ask you to derive meaning from several texts by referring to what is explicitly stated and then reasoning to determine implicit meaning. Let me give you the example for the reading task. So this passage is adapted from the novel Bel Canto by Untitled Chapter 2000. So it's about how do you call it? Giuseppe Verdi. He's an Italian opera composer from 1813 to 1901. So this is the sample is for the reading. Okay, so these are the questions to answer the reading passages. The point of view from which the passage is told is best described as that of. So you make sure you read the passages carefully to answer these questions. Okay, so this is the tips for taking the reading task. Make sure you pace yourself. If you spend about 2 to 3 minutes reading passages, then 35 seconds per question. So you should be able to answer 35 questions. And then make sure you read each passage carefully and then refer to the passages when answering the questions, and be conscious of relationship between or among ideas. Okay, so the reading test measures you on the following. So it's about key ideas and details. There are about 22 to 26 questions. So it determines central ideas and themes, summarize information and ideas accurately, understand relationship and draw logical conclusion. And the second one is craft and structure. It's about 10 to 12 questions. It's how to determine word and phrase meaning, analyze an author's word choice rhetorically, analyze author's purpose and perspective. And the third one is integrations of knowledge and ideas between 4 to 7 questions. So it's about understanding author's claims, differentiate between facts and opinions, and use evidence to make connections. So we go to the next section, which is the 4 out of 5 sections in the ACT test. So the science test consists of this information. So it's all about interpretation, analysis, evaluation, reasoning, and problem-solving skills in biology, earth or space sciences, chemistry, and physics. Passage formats are about data representation, about 12 to 16 questions, graph reading, interpretation of scatter plots, interpretation of information presented in tabular forms, and then research summaries. So it's about design of experiments and experimental results. And then the next one is conflicting viewpoints. So it's about understanding, analysis, comparison of alternative viewpoints of hypotheses. So this is the sample for the passage, the test. And these are the questions. So basically, we'll provide you with the figures. What you have to do is to answer the figure, to answer the questions based on the figures. So you don't really have to memorize the formula to be able to answer the questions. So this is the tips for taking science test. So after this, once done, I'm going to give you a demo video on about the ACT CBT test looks like, so that you can feel it before you take the test, and then make sure that you there. I can see there are some questions in regards of the section. So I'm going to that will be answered on the demo video. Something to do with next. We've already pressed next. So we'll talk about that one later on. So taking for the science test, so you make sure you pace yourself. So you have about 2 minutes reading passages and then 30 seconds to answer per questions. And then you make sure to read each passage carefully. You make sure you read the scientific materials provided, and then also read entire text and examine any graphs, tables, or figures, and make note important ideas from the information provided. And in experimental questions, consider the experimental designs. And then you make sure you note different viewpoints in passages. There are some conflicting points of view or other different views that you might think is important for you to answer the questions. So this is the optional. This is the last section, and optional, which is the writing section. You have 40 minutes to write an essay. So this, we have changed the design of the writing component in fall 2015. So the scoring has moved from holistic for reporting to analytical reporting of 4 domain scores. So the 4 domains, four domains that you really have to pay attention of. So it covers ideas and analysis, development and support, organization, and language use to provide better information about college and career readiness. And it emphasizes student ability to evaluate multiple perspectives on a complex issue and generate an analysis based on reasoning, knowledge, and experience. So this is the sample of the essay or right. It has something to do with intelligent machines. So make sure you read the task of the essay. So make sure you state your own perspective of the issue, analyze the relationship, and then you develop and support your ideas with reasoning and also examples, and organize your idea clearly and logically, and communicate your ideas effectively in standard writing English. There's, the perspective might be in full agreement with any of those given, impartial, or completely different. So there is no it doesn't determine how many words that you have to write, but you make sure you complete these 4 components. Okay, so that's the end of the ACT test review for the 5 subjects. Now we move to the equal acceptance. It has been informed last week on the ACT webinar as well. The ACT is accepted by all US universities and colleges and also over 200 international universities worldwide. And then also, these are the ACT score range required by top 100 university in US. So these are some of the Ivy Leagues. So the ACT score range is between 32 to 35. 36 is the maximum score for ACT test. So if you want to aim on the universities in these top ranked universities, you make sure you study hard and then you make sure you achieve this score range to be able to go to university. So the test prepares you to go to university, the good university that you want to go to. But at the end, it comes again to you, how you want to achieve that, and then how you can make sure that you can go to the university and success in this university. So if you look at the range, the ACT score range are between 31 to 35. And if you manage to have this score, some university actually can give you scholarship based on the ACT score. So we have many students applying to university with this scores, and they can get up to 7 university gives the scholarship for this because of the high ACT test score. Okay, so that's the tips about the ACT, information about the ACT, university acceptance. Now we go to the test preparation. So for internationally, you can go to globalact.org to get the information, all of the information about the ACT test. In terms of registration, you have to do things online. And then there are some test preps available for the ACT test. And then you make sure you are what to prepare on the test day, and then also the score, how you want to look at the ACT score stuff. So if you click on the test prep, you will go to this computer-based practice test, and it helps you to make sure that you have managed to study or managed to learn on the ACT. So there are version 1, version 2, time, and on time. So the subjects are English, math, reading, science, and writing. So once you take the test, for example, you can see which are the correct answers and incorrect answers so that you can fix or improve your score. You can keep on improving your score by taking the ACT test prep on the website, and then you can get a good result until you get a good result. So this is a sample. And there's also premium test prep resources. So option 1 is actually to buy the test preparation book from the ACT test directly. And then the option 2 is to do the ACT online prep. So the ACT online prep is the ACT test preparation online. You can do it anytime, anywhere. And then there is an option 3 is a bundle between the offline and online test preparation. So these are the official ACT test books. So we have, this is just launched last year. So usually we only have one ACT guide, which is consists of all of the subjects. But now we have everything. We have the books for each subject: English guide, math guide, reading guide, science guide in specific. So it really helps you to improve each section, because in 2021 we're going to have our retesting. We're going to have the retesting and then also super scoring. So if you want to emphasize more on subject, for example science, you can learn specifically on with this official ACT science guide. So you don't have to learn the others if you one of your subject to get the super score. Okay, so I'm going to play the video so that you can see the view what the ACT test looks like.
Hello, welcome to your guided tour of the new ACT testing environment. Beginning in September of 2018, all international test centers will administer the ACT test via computer. Let's get started with your tour. To begin, you will check into your test center and receive a one-time password to sign into the testing platform. Find your assigned seat and wait until the test coordinator in the room tells you it is time to begin testing. At their direction, and not before, you will use the one-time password to sign into the testing environment. Do not enter your password until you have been instructed to do so. See a set of directions written on the screen. Read these directions quietly to yourself and click the Next button. Then you will read about prohibited behaviors. This information is available to you on the ACT.org website, so you may review before you come to the testing center. Click Next to continue. Screen will show you test directions. You will read these to yourself quietly so not to disturb your neighbors around you. Click the Next button to continue when you have read all the directions. We'll ask you to accept our examinee statement. These are our terms and conditions. All examinees must accept these terms in order to sit for the ACT test. Select Accept and you will soon be on your way to test. This screen shows general test directions for the English test, the first test in the battery. It is not part of the timed test section. Select Next to continue and proceed with testing. This next page begins your test timer and provides instructions on how to answer you will encounter during this test section. Click Next to continue. Here we have our first English item. At the bottom of the screen, you can see all the question numbers in the subject area the examinee is currently in. Examinees may flag a question if you want to come back and review it if there's time left at the end. You may also clear your answer if you feel like you need to change it to something else. You may click on the Previous and Next buttons at the top left of the screen to advance through the test. The nav button between the previous and next buttons is another way for the examinee to go to a different question or to see which questions you have already answered. You will also notice the timer in the upper right-hand corner. The timer shows the examinee the amount of time remaining in the subject area of the test. The environment you are seeing right now is a testing environment. You will not have the option to end test. You will see that there is a scroll bar for the examinee to access the entire passage in the English section here. Next, let's go over some tools that you have to work with during the ACT test. First, we have the highlighter tool. You may highlight lines, words of each item to help you focus on what you need to read to answer the question correctly. Next, we have the line reader tool, and the reader will emphasize one line in your passage that can help you focus. Next, we have the magnifier tool. It helps zero in on areas of the item more helpful in science or math, and we will revisit later in your tour. For all sections, you might find helpful the answer eliminator. This will hide answers or cross out answers that you know to be incorrect, helping you narrow your choices. And finally, we have answer masking. This will actually hide answers that you know to be incorrect, helping you focus and move forward through your test. You will end the English test after 45 minutes. If you complete all your answers before that time, you will sit quietly before you move to the next. You will have to sit the full 45 minutes for the English test and the full duration of each subject test before moving to the next subject. Next, you have the mathematics test. You will click the next button to continue the full set of directions. The next section of directions are timed, and you will read these and proceed to the math item. Click the next button to continue. As we discussed, you can move between items using the navigation bar at the bottom. This item would be a good one to use the magnifying feature on. This will help you answer the question. You do not have to use any of these tools. You will also have scratch paper at your workstation. After the allotted 60 minutes mathematics test, you will start a 15-minute break. You may leave the test room and get a drink or use the restroom. You will leave your scratch paper in the room. You may not use a cell phone, tablet, or any other electronic device during the break. If you do so, you will be dismissed. Make sure that you re-enter the room on time. You will not be allowed to make up any time that you lost by being late. Also, be sure to return to the same computer that you tested on. The next test is the reading test. You will read the reading test directions and click the next button to move forward. The timer has, as a reminder, the end test button will not appear in the live test. Click the next button to begin completing your items. Answer the question to the best of your ability. Remember there are tools to use. You can highlight or use the line reader tool to help you answer the question in the reading test. Click next to continue through the test. When you are done, if you finish before the allotted time, you will need to sit for the rest of the time until the science test. Remember that you can navigate back and forth between questions using the menu at the bottom of the screen. Next is the science test. You will read the science test directions and click the next button to continue. Read these science test directions. The timer is already going, and you will continue to answer the questions for 35 minutes. Remember that you may use tools to help you answer these questions. The Matter tool may be especially helpful in the science section when you're looking at graphs. If you did not select the writing option when you registered for the ACT test, then you have completed your ACT test experience and you will leave the room. If you have selected the writing option, you will have a 5-minute break when you may leave the room to get a drink or use the restroom or otherwise prepare for the next test. Remember, you will not be able to access your phone or other electronic devices, and doing so will result in you being dismissed from the test. 5-minute break. When you're ready, you will see the writing test directions. This is information on the writing test. Click Next to move to the next set of directions and begin the test. Read these instructions on what you will be evaluated upon and click Next to continue. This screen shows the planning stage. It shows you your essay prompt, gives you the assigned task, and provides helpful guidance on how to plan your essay. Be sure you read this thoroughly before you begin. Use your scratch paper to plan, but remember that will not be scored. If you have a good idea for a complete sentence, you may enter that in the next screen in the writing pane. You'll scroll down past the prompt and you will see the square in which to enter your response. You will not be able to access outside content during the ACT test. However, you will be able to move sentences around within the writing pane. Using Control-C or Control-V allows you to copy and paste. This will help you save time as you manipulate pieces of your essay during the essay writing test. After you've completed the writing assessment, you will see a screen that shows next steps. This is also the screen that those who did not opt in for the writing assessment will have seen after the science portion. Click Next to continue. Make sure that you bring all your belongings with you as you leave the room. Your scratch paper will be collected and may not leave the room with you. Thank you for watching this guided tour. Good luck on your next ACT test. We hope to see you in September.
Okay. Okay, so that's the information for the ACT test. Okay. Okay. So if you go to the directly to the website, so this is the view of the ACT test website, and then you click on the test prep, you can see all of the official guide here available for you to buy from Amazon, and then also computer-based practice test for free is available for you for free, and then you can see the time and untimed subjects in here. So if you can see, it will go to the next page, next window, and then you can do the practice from here. So you have two versions of each so that you can study it. So it's the same like the computer-based testing, the real one. So the test, the practice test is actually to make you feel comfortable and using the program, using the computer, and then to make sure that you manage to use the tools accordingly. All of the tools are available here. So this is this is science. So you can browse on each subject if you want to version, and then that one is the first option. The second option is this books and ACT online prep. And then there's an additional free test resources that you can have. This one, and then also the PDF file for you if you want to do this one offline, preparing for the ACT test. So if you want, you can visit this page as well. The same with demo, the computer based, but this is a little bit different. Is basically you read the questions, read the passages, and then after that answer the questions. So there are two free options for you to take the preparation, and then there are two paid for you to take the test preparation. Okay, so if you have if you have anything that you want to ask, please feel free to ask. If you want to ask me further on the presentation that I just mentioned just now, you can email it to my email address. Okay, thank you so much for listening.
Thank you so much, Sela. So yeah, I find this whole presentation that you made is really, really informative and very helpful. Especially, it's quite cool to learn that the ACT, provided these tools to help the students have a better experience and easier to do the test and get better grades for them as well. So with that being said, I realized when you put on your presentation, you mentioned there's this top 100 universities in US that accept your ACT test. But I want to emphasize that there's actually for all of you, if this is kind of like new to you, like US universities is quite new to you, and you haven't you just did a bit of research, I want you to know that you have more than 100 options. To be honest, there's like more than 4,000 universities that's accredited in United States. So as far as I know, I will confirm this with you, Sela. So I want to confirm that all these accredited universities, like more than 4,000 universities in United States, accept ACT for their undergrad. Am I right?
Yes, that's right. Most of the universities in US they accept ACT or ACT test. So this time we focus more on the ACT test itself.
Yeah. So that's really cool. So this test will be 100% accepted to US universities for your undergrad application. Undergrad is S1 if you are not familiar with the term undergrad. So we have question from Anake Agustin in the Zoom. She asked whether are all American universities require ACT test. So the short answer is yes. And now you know that you have more than numbers of option. You actually have thousands of options, but of course it's not realistic for you to apply to so much universities. Narrowing down these universities based on the program that you're looking for, based on what you are looking for, based on your need, like if the university is in certain location or the program is focused on certain location and certain topic that you want to learn, and maybe if it matters to you if they can offer you scholarship or not. And Sela also give a very important piece of information that your ACT score can serve a good purpose to let the university admission to decide whether they can give you a scholarship or not. But a heads up is for undergrad, it's quite rare to have fully funded scholarship. But if, like Sela said, if you have good ACT score and you have good CV as well and essay and everything in your application looks really great and wonderful, chances are the university could give you partial scholarship. Usually they call it merit based, and that is based on your academic performance and your test results and everything like that. And most of the time, or not, depending on the university system, you can read on their application website, on their site, on the requirements and application procedure. They usually can state there is this automatically considered for merit-based scholarship. If they don't mention that, most of the time you will have to find their website, the university website on the financial aid part, and you can look at the scholarship opportunity there. If you cannot find any, you can email them, just like Stella asking you to reach out to her. US universities really appreciate people who are proactive, so if you cannot find anything, you can email them and ask them questions as well. All right, so we actually have other questions in the chat box from the Zoom, but I'm gonna check if we have questions from other website as well. No questions so far from other platforms, so only from Zoom. But if you're watching from anywhere else in Zoom, in Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or other platforms that we are live streaming to, if you have question, you can type it in the comment box and send it. Our team will pass it to us. And we have about 25 minutes left. So I want to make it useful to everyone here. So Trista, I have another question here. How many times can we take the ACT test? This is a very good question. Do you have the answer for us, Stella?
Okay. So you can take as much as ACT test as you want, but it has something to do with the price. Each ACT test costs about 150, including the writing is 165. So that will depend on you whether you want to spend that much money all the time. But uh, one time you probably think is not enough. You might not feel that your score is not high enough. You can do retest for the second one, or probably the maximum is 3 times. The second one, probably you might be able to improve all of your score marks in terms of that. So, and then you will be very well prepared later on the second, probably on the third one, if you really have to take the test. So, how many times you can take the test? Up to 4 to 5 times every time you take the test.
Wow. Okay. Up to 4 to 5 times.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
But
But
nobody wants to take the test, for hours
yeah,
and
I
every
I
time,
will
times.
yeah, I would say it's quite rare for one student to retake the test up to more than 5 times because I think it's quite rare. I think a lot of us and the key to standardized tests like ACT is the practice. So the more we practice on it,
Yeah,
the more that we are familiar with the type of questions and kind of like the template on,
true.
you know the drill, and then you get used to it, and you generally get better score as you retry or retake the test. So
Yeah,
more than 5 times is kind of rare or very rare, but
yeah.
there's actually no limit on how many times you take the test, right?
I would say about 4 to 5 times.
That's the limit.
Yes,
So
yes.
if one
That is
student want to retake for the sixth time, they are not able to, or
Let me check again because I'm not really sure
okay.
if students want to take it to the sixth time.
Right,
And
right. But yeah,
some,
I think it's very rare. It's a
yeah,
very rare case. That's why you haven't, uh know that if it's possible or not to retake on the sixth one. But yeah, rest assured, for Trista, if you are worried, like, before you actually try the test itself, that you're worried that you will get a bad score, and you worry that you need to retake and again, rest assured that there is free resource available like what Sela gave in her presentation just now. You can go to the ACT website and find the free resource. And I was about to ask before Sela actually explained the CBT, the computer-based test that's provided for free on the website. I want to ask whether they will give the tools as well. Like, you go through this trial test, and if it doesn't have the tools, then it won't be the same as the real test, right?
mm-hmm. Yeah,
But you show me,
this
but
is
you
it.
show all of us and me that that free trial test also includes all of the tools, and it's just like the real test. So just go through that as many times as you can, and I hope that will help you ace the test. But I will also ask Sela on other tips on acing the test. But before that, there is another good question that I want to ask to Sela. It's from
Mhm.
Anaka in Zoom. What is the difference between ACT and SAT? So, from my perspective as an education US advisor, and what I learned from Sela when you came to our center before, and explaining about ACT and what I know about SAT, and then I compared them on on top of my head. And what I know for sure is for ACT, you already have the science in the test, and for SAT, there is no science section. You have to choose a subject test for any science subject that you want to take. And that's very specific that you have to check with the university and the program that you are applying, whether they require you for a certain subject test, which I think it will, add on the cost of your test if you need a subject test. But for ACT, it's all in one. And I'm about to ask Sela whether the writing, because it's optional,
Yeah,
do you have additional charge on the writing section that's additional?
yeah. Actually, the writing test is optional. You will need to pay additional of 16.50. You ask
Okay,
that.
yeah, I
Right.
find that's quite affordable.
Yes.
So yeah, the ACT test includes um, English, math, science, and only the writing is optional. But for SAT, the science is breakdown into the subjects. So you have to choose either like chemistry or physics to choose specifically. And if you're taking more than the SAT itself and then subject test, and then the writing is also kind of optional if I'm not mistaken. So that means you have plenty things to add, and sometimes it's quite confusing.
That's right.
And I don't know about SAT because we don't really we haven't heard about that update from the official. As far as I know, it's kind of paper based still. And yeah, I think it's just sometimes it's because we use computers so much these days. I think we are used to using computer for everything. So so for example, for now, for me, if you tell me to write something on a paper right now, my handwriting will be a mess, and I sometimes it takes me longer to write and everything. So for SAT, it's a bit different with ACT in terms of the modes of testing, and it's just the types of things that you have to choose, in your test. So what I want to emphasize here, both SAT and ACT are accepted in US universities, and the difference is between the subjects that you have to choose in the test. And I think the template also a bit different because of the inside of the test is a bit different. So yeah, but from Stella's perspective, and I know you get this kind of question a lot, right? What's the difference between SAT? Like, why ACT? Why not SAT? Because I know a lot of Indonesians are more familiar with SAT, and most of the time I tell them about ACT as well. And I hope this really serves the purpose to let them know that there's other options.
Okay. I'm sorry. Something I just need to add you a little bit more.
Yeah,
In terms
sure.
of ACT test itself, the time of taking the test is actually much shorter than SAT.
Okay,
Uh-huh.
that's
And
really
and then also we have a college profile, so it will help the student. It will be discussed later on next week. What is the benefit of taking the ACT test itself, because it has something to do with college profile that we provide on the ACT test score itself. So ACT test score is not just a score, but it will help the students to determine whether they are good at certain factors, like some people are actually good in idea or people or data or thing. It will be determined on the test itself. So before you fill in the before you register for the ACT test, you will have to fill in questionnaires, and later on it will go down to the test result itself, and it will help the students to choose which subjects faculty that they want to go, whether they are suitable enough or less or good to go. So that's also part of the feature that actually ACT doesn't have.
right. Thank you so much to add to that, Sela. So, oh, and I forgot to add on the question. I think it was Anneke or Trista who asked the question on, the U.S. university accept ACT. All U.S. university accept ACT. They certainly accept ACT, but you have to check in their requirements if they ask for ACT or SAT, or they don't ask for it. Like sometimes it's just U.S. university have the right to list down what kind of requirements they ask from the students. So you have to check again. And other than that, since we take the test online, and the result will be also online, right?
Yes, that's right. The result will come out within 3 days, 3 working days, to 2 weeks, and the writing test result will come out within a month.
Right. So how do you send the result to the university? Is it like you just go to your website in your account, or it's automatic? How does that work?
So I think you will get a notification, or you can check your user ID regularly. the result will come out. And then before, when you do the registration, you have chance to fill in up to four universities on the registration. So the university will receive the ACT test score once it comes out. So you can up to four universities, but it has to be done before the test. Otherwise, you have to pay some extra for sending the
Right.
score to the universities.
Right. I think it's kind of a general how it works
That's right.
for standardized tests, right? So this is
Mhm.
before. Is this like when you purchase the ACT test, you input four of this university name,
Yes,
or
up to
before you
four.
start, before we actually
Before
pay for it?
So you have a chance to fill in the universities that you want to go to send the score to.
Okay.
But yeah, I think about 3 days before the test, and then after that it's closed.
Oh, okay. So kind of like after you pay, you still have time until 2 or 3 days before your test, your
Yes,
actual test date.
yeah, yes, that's
Okay,
right.
that's quite fair. So
Mhm.
yeah, you can still change your mind a bit and then put it in before you start the test.
Yeah, there's one more thing that I want to add. I know that ACT is actually well known in international, right?
Okay.
But to let you know, like 52% of the American high school students take the ACT more
Yeah.
than the SAT itself. So if you take the ACT test, means
Mhm.
that you are actually competing with the
Yeah.
American students itself, not internationally. So you probably have better chance to
Yeah.
go to university because the competition is actually among the American students, not to high school, to international students. So you have
Yeah.
better opportunities to taking ACT test to apply to university in America.
Yeah, and it's quite a well-known information that Indonesian students have strong mathematics and
That's
science
true. That's one of the things.
knowledge, right?
And the
Yeah.
students are not really aware on that. That
Yeah.
Indonesian students are very good in math and science,
Hmm.
and ACT tests actually have math and science both. So you don't have to take anything else or taking additional.
Right. So that's very cool. I find that it's quite true, and it never crossed my mind until you mentioned that. But yeah, now come to think of it, like if your math score is very good and your science score is very good, compared to other people, native students in America took it
Mhm.
and their score is not as comparable in that aspect of yours, that
That's right.
means your score is better, and that's why Stella mentioned like the university offered them a partial
That's true.
scholarship on the ACT score. So yeah, it all makes sense now because I was kind of puzzled, like, wait a second, like they give you scholarship based on your ACT test. This is my first time hearing that. But yeah, now that you mentioned that, it's quite
Mhm.
makes a lot of sense because they see that you have a very strong maths and science, especially if you're applying to the major or the field that use a lot of that, right? Like engineering or mathematics major directly, and they see that you have very good score in that. I don't see why not they support you for that.
And then also one amazing news is that based on the survey and based on the data
Hmm.
that we have, Southeast Asia and South Asia students actually get the highest score in math and science. So
Yeah.
it's
Wow,
more
it's no
than
surprise,
other
but it's
students.
quite amazing to hear.
It's
So
surprising.
yeah,
We are good on this.
yeah, that's totally cool, and I think ACT have science in it just for you to show off that you're good in it, right? And if you haven't tried ACT before and you are only familiar with SAT, I don't see it will hurt you if you gonna try running the trial test for ACT first and see if you do better, because it's like the real test, the timer and everything works just normal, like the normal test, right? Just like the regular test. So you can see
That's right.
if your ACT score is very good, then I don't see why not you don't use ACT for your application.
Mhm.
If it's required actually. So next we actually have a lot of questions, but ACT team helps us answering that because it's quite technical question for ACT. So Trista asked here, if we take the test online, does it mean we can take it from home, or does it still have to be from the test center? So Christine answered that you have to do the test in the test center for now, and that means from now until the end of 2020. So yeah, a lot with standardized tests, even if it's online, because they they want to control the fairness and the quality of the test. They usually have test center for you to go and then to take the test there. They will provide everything that you will need for the test. You just need to bring the things that being asked for, like I think you mentioned the ID and then the test confirmation, something like that, Stella.
This called, what is it? Roster something ticket. Yeah, it's a ticket that the students have to bring, student
Oh,
tickets. So it has information about the students, and then the student ID, and then also the photo of the students, because it's very strict regulation from the ACT. They have to bring this kind of ticket to
right.
be able to go into the test.
Yeah, I think identification is very important because we want to make sure that this is the student who's taking the test, right? The real student, and you cannot, manipulate anything, which means it will be the real result of
Just
you,
take the
right?
test out.
Mhm.
Yeah, as
Yeah, yeah. So another question from Hardy. I think this is quite important to share for other people who are watching not from Zoom. In
yeah.
order to take the ACT test, where can I take ACT in North Jakarta? Can we have ACT in my school once a year? So this is a very good question, and maybe it's for ACT team to consider as well. But for now, you can go to the ACT test center, and you can find the test center list in the ACT website, which is www.act.org. You can find most information there, I assume. But if you are, you need specific guidance or you are confused where to find things, you can definitely email Stella or any of the team here in Zoom chat. They're very active. Christine and Bu Anti, who actually facilitated the first session last week. So now we only have 8 minutes left. Look at the time, it flies, right? So yeah, Christine mentioned don't forget to bring your photo ID. So yeah, that's very important. Yeah, I hope this session is very helpful. So Stella, do you have any last things to add before we close this session?
Just one more thing to add Hati questions about the ACT test center located. So because of this pandemic, that we have to close some locations, especially on the school locations. So at the moment, we only have several centers open for Jakarta area. Yeah, but it's not much of the seat capacity, but we still can accommodate the test takers for the time being. But we're gonna change the strategy later on. But keep updating, keep looking at our website for any updates. Okay,
All
that's
right. Yeah, thank you so much, Stella, for the
thank
very
you.
good information in the presentation. I really love your presentation because it gives everyone an idea on what is the real test and what to expect on things that will pop up in the test. So it's quite cool that we learn more about ACT, and I hope we can have a deeper understanding again next week. And I think next week is about the scoring. Am I right?
Yes, that's right.
Right,
Good.
and Christine will be facilitating, and it will be fun. So a bit about scoring. One unique thing about ACT is called Super Score. I heard about it, but I'm not that familiar about it yet. And what I heard, you can take the test on the subject. So let's say I don't really do well because the score is per section. So let's say I don't really do well on my maths, which I did. um, I can retake the maths test, and what it's counted as a super score if I do better and I use that.
That's right.
Okay.
But it's not available yet for international. Uh,
Oh, okay.
it will start on September this year for national in US only. but
Okay.
internationally we are not ready yet. So it's probably going to be done next year. But if if you are in US, you are welcome to take the subject pretesting. That will be available next September 2020. But I think because of the pandemic, it's going to be postponed for a little.
Right. But it's a good thing that we know there
It
that will be available, right? All
will
right.
be
So
better.
Christine raised her hand. I wonder if she have something to add. Christine, do you mind? Let me try. But I don't think we have enough time now. But yeah, in the chat box in Zoom, there are a lot of questions and being answered in the chat box. So if you ask your question in the chat box, you can check it out. The answer, most of the time, Christine or Andy already answered you or me there. So yeah, I think we are going to close this event just real quick. Okay, so Christine asked to be unmute. Wait on. Okay, I'm unmuting Christine now.
Thank you.
Hi,
Thank you so much,
Christine.
Santika. Hi.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it's
Just
okay.
want to add on to something.
Yeah,
Initially, in the US, we're planning to have section retesting in September 2020, but because of the pandemic, so there are changes being made as well. So that itself is also going to be delayed till 2021. All right.
right.
So just to let you know, that will be moving forward. We only have super scoring in September 2020 for the globe for ACT.
Right.
Yeah, all over. All right, cool. That's it.
It's okay.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Christine, for the update. But yeah, with that being said, a lot of the high school students who is currently in the grade 11, and if you are taking ACT next year, then most likely the super score is being adopted internationally already. So that's going to be great for you. But if not, you can always do your best still because you have free resources and you can also find other resources on the website and other website if they provide you with some ACT questions or guidance. All right, with that being said, thank you so much, Stella, for today. And I really find this session helpful. And if you just popped in the middle of this event and you're like, oh my God, I missed like half of the presentation and everything like that, don't freak out. You can rewatch all sessions, all events on America, not only the Education USA events. You can rewatch everything because we live stream this. It will be available in YouTube. After the event finish, you can rewatch this in YouTube. Our YouTube is at America with AT America with double A in the end. So you can find it there. But if you cannot find it, you can contact me. You can email us at jakarta.atamerica@educationusa.org. Or if you want to pop into our Zoom, you can. It's 276-124. Let me pull that out. I don't want to make a mistake here. 276-124-4396. So we are available from 1 until 9 p.m. And I think that's that. Thank you so much, everybody. I'll see you guys next week. Don't forget, it's the last session and we'll make it a blast. Thank you so much, everyone. And I'll give it back to Maya. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Kasantika. That was a very helpful session. We'll see you again next week. Now, the rest of you, please don't go anywhere because I have the name of the winner for our social media quiz today. Earlier in this event, I asked you guys, is it true or false that Cornell University is suspending the ACT or SAT testing requirements for 2021 applicants? And the right answer is true. Cornell University is the first Ivy League institution to suspend the ACT or SAT testing requirements due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And our winner for today is Jasmine McCall from Facebook. Congratulations, Jasmine. Now, you may be wondering, how can I develop an awesome idea for a place like this? Easy. You can go to our website at www.atamerica.or.id, click Create an Event, and collaborate with us. All proposals coming to us will be reviewed, and your event might be featured here soon. And while you're on our website, feel free to subscribe to our newsletters for weekly event updates sent straight to your inbox. All right, everybody, I think that wraps up this episode. It has been really fun today, but unfortunately, we have to say goodbye for now. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter at ATAmerica for event updates, fun content, and so much more. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Maya Trainer. We'll see you again next week. Bye!